Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's kick off today's video with a story that perfectly captures the essence of sweet, well-planned revenge. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Bumper Car Karma. My family went on a day-long vacation to an amusement park. 8 of us in total make for rare yet special family moments. This is one of those moments. The youngest sister, YS, of the family got ecstatic because she was going to ride the bumper cars without needing an adult. She talked about it non-stop for 2 weeks, and when the day finally arrived, we were relieved to no longer have to hear about it. Around noon, she jumped in line with the oldest sister, OS of the family, while the rest of us took a break from roller coasters and purchased refreshments. 20 minutes later, all of us are seated at a table, and we're shocked to see YS exiting from the cars with tears streaming down her face, while OS is marching behind her, red-faced and fuming. Due to her sobbing, we can't figure out what happened until OS reaches us. Apparently, there was an idiot high schooler on the bumper cars who got so caught up with hitting people that he forgot to ease up on the younger kids. He threw his weight around hardcore and made a couple of the kids cry, including my YS. When OS confronted him afterwards, he simply responded, "That's the point of the bumper cars," and left. The guy didn't even have the decency to check up on anyone or apologize. He indifferently walked right off, ignoring those he hurt. The story got us all pretty heated, especially with our sister crying next to us. She rarely cries. We all attempted to console her, and at that precise moment, OS turned around and saw the culprit getting back in line. All of us, the entire family, looked at each other, and without saying a word, we proceeded to walk over and also get in line behind the little turd bucket. The youngest 2 of the family stayed out to watch. As we buckled up, Kid Rammer had a stupid little smile on his face as he prepared for another round, not knowing that our entire family was literally surrounding him with only one target in mind. What occurred afterwards was a combination of teamwork and a perfectly executed plan. We alternated between trapping him and hitting him. The first to hit would attempt to keep him stuck, while the others drove around to gain speed and plaster him to kingdom come. Fun fact, when throwing body weight at the point of contact, the hit becomes much more effective, which is what we did. My favorite image that I replay in my head is the kid stuck from front backside so he can't steer or move, and my dad drives in a bone-crushing hit from one side, followed by a deafening smash by brother on the other side. The dude's body dramatically shifted from one side to the other. The assault continued for a good 5 minutes. Right before the ending bell, 2 of my sisters got in the best hit I've ever seen. They delivered a bone-jarring jolt while he was trapped in the corner. The whiplash he experienced almost made me feel bad for him. Almost. As we walked out, the dude no longer had a stupid smile on his face, but we sure did. His face grimaced as he rubbed his neck with his hands. He saw all of us at the exit, and I think he put 2 and 2 together when he saw YS with us and all of us laughing about the hits we got in. OS walked up to him and said, "You hurtin'? I guess that's the point of bumper cars, isn't it? Next time, pick on people your own size," and walked away. He stood there dumbfounded as we all went back to lunch. Nice. That teenager deserved that for bumping your younger sister and other kids while not caring how young they were and saying that was the point of bumper cars. I hope he thinks twice after that. And our second story. Lady complains I drive too fast, then too slow. Now she's just mad. I live in a very quiet suburban neighborhood with lots of active neighbors. Joggers, bikers, dog walkers, baby strollers, kids playing ball in the streets, etc. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour, but when I see lots of foot traffic on the sidewalks, I bring it down to 15 miles per hour or even 10 miles per hour if I see a big group of kids playing in the street. There's this sweet group of kids who play basketball in the middle of the street 8 doors down from my home. When they see cars approaching, they move to the curb and wait for the cars to pass before resuming their game. One day I was driving home from work and I saw the kids out playing and their mother was on the front lawn talking with another adult. I slowed down to 10 miles per hour and went to the complete opposite side of the street as I crept by. A little while later, she knocked on my door and complained about how fast I was driving and that I could have harmed her precious children. I said the speed limit's 25 and I was going 10. How much slower do you want me to go? She said, I don't care. Just slow down or else I'm going to call the police. I have a doorbell camera so I can see you every time you drive by. Okay, crazy lady, whatever you say. The next day, the kids were outside playing in the street again, and I slowly approached, came to a full stop, and then took my foot off the brakes and let the car crawl at 1 mile per hour. The kids stared at me all confused as it took me an entire minute to pass through their makeshift basketball court. I continued to do this a few more times until one day the mother came and knocked on my car window as I was crawling by. I lowered my window and asked if there was a problem. She said, why are you going so slow? Are you stalking my children? I said, no, of course not. You demanded that I slow down, so I am. And I rolled up my window and went on my way. She comes banging on my door again and says, don't get smart with me. Now you're going too slow. I said, are you saying that going 10 miles per hour is okay now? Because if you don't like it, you can call the police. She huffed and crossed her arms and stomped off my porch. Let's get real. Her kids were literally playing in the street, not in a driveway, not on a basketball court, the actual road. And yet, instead of teaching them to stay extra cautious, she fixates on you, the driver, who was already going significantly under the speed limit, as if you're out there doing donuts and drag racing past their game. And our next story. When customers think their logic beats the register. I work for a large retail chain. Every year we have a promotion called Multi-Buy Madness, where we have a bunch of discounts if you buy in bulk. For example, this year we have buy 2 premium personal care products and receive 1 free. So it's a typical 3 for 2 promotion. All in-store signage, TV ads, radio ads, and other promotional material clearly states that the cheapest item of the 3 will be free. All discounts are automatically applied by the computer and cannot be changed by employees. As you might expect, it's a very busy day because of all these discounts. I'm working checkout all day and the line isn't getting any shorter. Nearing closing time, a lady shows up to pay for her items. She has a bunch of things and the total comes out to over 150 euros. Nothing out of the ordinary happens yet. After helping a few more customers, I noticed that she's still hanging around near the exit, obstructing the flow of people entering and leaving the store, slowly inspecting her receipt and saying, I really don't agree with this, multiple times. This is where the fun starts. She walks straight up to my register, completely ignoring the line of people and customer I'm helping at the moment, and begins talking, read yelling, at me about how I made a mistake and she deserves a refund. I politely tell her that she'll have to go to the back of the line and await her turn just like everyone else. After a few scoffs and sighs, she finally does as I tell her. After helping a few other customers, it's her turn. Lady, hi, I just bought these items from you, but you didn't give me the correct discount. Me, I'm sorry to hear that. The computer must have made a mistake. Let's have a look at your receipt. I scan a receipt to see all the details on my screen. I can see that a bunch of discounts were applied due to multi-buy madness. Furthermore, it doesn't look like there were any other possible combinations of items that would give her another discount. Me, it looks like all possible discounts were applied. Which one did you say was missing? Lady, you have a promotion for 2+1 on all personal care products. I bought 6 items, so I should receive 2 for free. Me, I'm afraid that promotion only applies to premium personal care products. I show her the promotion details from the handy booklet I have in my back pocket. It clearly states that it only applies to premium personal care products. It even includes a picture of applicable items. The premium personal care items include things like some fancy shower gel, hand cream, and shampoo. All items are consumables. Lady, no, look, this mirror has a nice pattern on the backside that looks pretty premium to me. Me, I agree that it's a nice mirror, but I'm afraid that this promotion doesn't apply to it. Lady, well, I understand it like that, so you are legally obliged to give me the discount. Me, I would give you the discount if I could, but I'm afraid I can't. I totally can. Lady, okay, but even without the mirror, it still doesn't add up. Here comes the complaint they all make. Lady, I only got €1 discount, but these shampoo bottles are all €5. Me, yes, because you also included the facial mask, which costs €1. The cheapest item will be free, like it says on the poster. Lady, then I'd like to return these 5 premium personal care items and buy the first 2 cheap ones, and then buy the 3 expensive ones to get the higher discount. Me. I don't think that would be polite towards the people waiting behind you, and I'd also be breaking the rules. Lady. But you are legally obliged to give me this discount because that's how I interpreted it. Me. No, I'm not. Lady. I'd like to speak to whoever's in charge. Finally. Me. How can I help? Lady. Me. Here's what I can do. I can refund the 5 items, and then you can go to the back of the line and await your turn to buy the 2 cheaper items. After that, you can return to the back of the line again and buy the 3 expensive items to get the higher discount. Lady. Okay. Me. We're closing in a few minutes, though. You'll need to exit the store when you complete your purchase after 5 p.m. She stormed off, promising she'd complain to corporate and call me out on Twitter and Facebook. I never heard a thing about it. Lady, this isn't a build-your-own discount buffet. It's literally programmed into the system. And this mirror looks premium to me reasoning? I have to admire the audacity, if nothing else. And our last story. How my neighbor's driveway theft ended in disaster. I used to work as a delivery driver, spending most of my days on the road in my semi. I was usually out before dawn and didn't come back until late at night, sometimes not even that same day. Because of that, I didn't always see what was happening in my own neighborhood. But one day, when I actually had a few hours at home, I noticed something very, very wrong. The neighbors next door were doing renovations, some kind of expansion project. At first, I didn't really care. They'd been talking about updating their place for a while, and as long as it didn't mess with me, they could do whatever they wanted. But when I stepped outside that afternoon, I saw something that made my blood boil. The construction crew had ripped up half my driveway. At first, I thought maybe I was just seeing things, but no, they had literally started tearing into my property. They had already pulled out part of the brick, and it looked like they were planning to extend their front yard right into my driveway. I immediately walked over and told the neighbor where the property line was. He acted completely innocent and assured me they wouldn't cross onto my property. He even smiled and said, "Don't worry, we're keeping everything within our lines." I actually believed him. That was my mistake. 2 hours later, half my driveway was missing, and they'd already poured new concrete. The construction workers were nowhere in sight, and of course, the neighbor had disappeared too. I was beyond pissed. I wasn't going to let him get away with it. But instead of throwing a fit, I decided to handle things my own way. I waited until the middle of the night and gathered up about 30 shopping carts from my company's storage lot. Since I worked in delivery, I had access to plenty of them. These weren't just any carts either. Some were missing wheels, some were bent, and some were completely broken. Then, under the cover of darkness, I planted those carts in the wet concrete. I went all out. I stuck them in at weird angles, lined some up like they were marching into battle, and even posed a couple like they had sunk into the concrete. By the time I was done, it looked like a shopping cart apocalypse. Then I went back inside and slept like a baby. The next morning, chaos erupted. The construction crew showed up first, and I could hear them swearing from my window. The neighbor came running outside, screaming at the workers, demanding to know who in the hell had ruined his perfect concrete. The concrete had hardened overnight. Those carts weren't going anywhere. It took them 4 full days of jackhammering to get rid of all the concrete and shopping carts, 4 days of wasted labor, lost materials, and extra costs. And this time, they didn't touch my property. After they cleared away the mess, I went back over and told my neighbor in no uncertain terms that he needed to fix my driveway or I'd be suing him for every penny. 2 days later, my driveway was completely restored. Actually, it was even better than before. Smooth, level, and freshly paved. Your neighbor thought he could just take your driveway like no one would notice? The audacity. And then, after you directly told him where the property line was? Nah, he deserved every bit of that shopping cart graveyard. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.